Okay, welcome back to Miss B Makes It Easier, and I have been asked to explain gradient a little bit more, but this time I'm gonna have the graph already done, and it's a simple graph where we have a one-to-one relationship where you have 1, 1, 2 to 2, 3 to 3, 4 to 4. So you could get a straight line graph. The values don't have any kind of relationship with any units per se. They're just values so that we can obtain a straight line graph. And so what I'm going to do, I'm going to show you how to find a gradient really easily. Now, when you have a gradient, you will have a bunch of points. Now, a good graph would have about 5 points or more, right? 5 to 8 points, right? So once those points are already established and they've been plotted, then if you could get, this is an actual straight line graph where the line passes to 0 and passes through all the points, so y is therefore proportional to x. But that's too far along the road. Now, all we're looking at is that we have this line and we want to find the gradient. Now, the gradient is an average of all the points that you would have plotted. Okay, so you don't want to have your gradient too small, like in here. You want it wide and big. Now, a good gradient covers all the points. Now, I would, for instance, take my gradient all the way out here. So you would find 2 points on a line. And so this is my first point. Okay, and I have space here. So this will be my first point. So I'm going to write y1 and x1. And then this down here, somewhere down here, would be my second point. So I have y2 and x2. So you always find 2 points on the line. And then you determine their coordinates. So for this one, you look at the x and you look for the coordinate running along here. Now, if you look at it, if I put my point here for this, you would see that it falls on 8.5 because the next point will be 9. Okay? How do I know this? I tell you all the time, if you don't know how to figure out what's going on in the center here, you minus 8 from 9, and you get 1. And since we're just dealing with two spaces in terms of, we're not looking at the little spaces anymore. We're dealing between this space and this space. Since it's 2 now, ignoring the little spaces in between, you divide by 2, and you end up with 0.5. And so you just add the 0.5 to 8 to get 8.5. So y is 8.5, and we don't have any units. X now for this, you just look, you scroll, you look down, you take your ruler, and you make a point. As a matter of fact, you draw a perforated line right down to X, which will help you. So you draw a perforated line, and you realize that it falls between 8 and 9. And it's the same increment as over here. So therefore, this will be 8.5 as well. So then x1 is 8.5. Now if you come down here, you will see that y is 0.5 and x will be 0.5. Okay? And if you calculate now, you say gradient is equal to delta y over delta x. So you say y1 minus y2. So y is always the rise over run. So this is the rise and this is the run. And so you put x1 minus x2. You could also put gradient is equal to y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. You could change it, but once you start with a 2, you must start with a 2 down here as well. Okay? And so we're sticking our numbers. So y1 is 8.5, y2 is 0.5, divided by y1 is 8. So you see how easy it is that we have our numbers here, and yx2 is 0.5. And then down here, y2 would be 0.5 minus 8.5, which is this up here, and then divided by x2, which is 0.5 minus 8.5. And you're going to get the same number. So let's do this one. 8.5 minus 0.5 gives us 8. And so this and this are the same thing. So we know it's 8 over 8. And that will give us 1. And this will give us now negative 8 over negative 8, which would give us 1. Because a negative divided by a negative will give you a positive number. Now, let's say you didn't use these points. Let's say you use another set of points along the line. And I'm me and you're you. And you say, okay, I don't want to use these points. I want to use this point right here. So let me get another color pen. Blue. So I'm going to use this point right here. And I'm going to use this point right here. So you didn't cover all your points, you cover most of your points. And so now you say, oh, this is y1 up here for me, and this is y2. You do the same thing. And so anywhere along the line, wherever points you pick, you should be able to get the same gradient all the time. Or if it's not the same, very close. But in a graph like this, because it's a 1-to-1 in terms of whatever 1 is, matches 1 here, and the increments are the same, you end up with, you should end up with the exact same number for your gradient. So let's try this. So here we have y1. This is O1. So y1 is equal to, and we go across here and we see that is 7.5, right? Because it's right in here. So 7.5. And our x1, is equal to, if you come down here, you see that it is 7.5. So you see we're running along the same route. And here now, our y2 is equal to 1.5. So we come across here between 1 and 2, and it's right here. It's 1.5. And our x2 is equal to, come down, 1.5. So let's find the gradient. So the gradient will be equal to y1 minus y2 over x1 minus x2. And we're going to do y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. See the match? 1 and 1, 2 under 2, 2 and 2, 1 under 1. And we just put in our numbers. So y1 is 7.5, y2 is 1.5, right? And x1 is 7.5, while x2 is 1.5. And let's just do this the other way for this one. So 1.5 minus 7.5 divided by 1.5 minus 7.5. Of course, like I said, you're going to end up with the same numbers. And so what you're going to end up with is with 6, yeah. So you end up with 6 over 6 and negative 6 over negative 6. And that will give you 1, and this will give you 1. Okay, so again, see, any point along the line should give you the same numbers for the gradient. And so with gradient, don't forget that you have to put your perforated lines to show your triangle, and it helps you in the process. So here I'm doing my perforated line, and here. Now with the red one, I didn't go across because I put my point at 0. But if you want, you could actually do it. So remember, we have this line here, and so this one would be, oh, Yeah, so I could have done it. So yeah, so this is the other grade, the other triangle. So you put in your triangle. I thought I had it at 0. So you see, so make sure you have your triangles in for each of them. Okay, so I hope this helped. Good night.